Um, any polyhedron higher than a cube cannot realistically hold the eight ghost numbers, outer ghost numbers on the octants, on the eight octants of our physical reality, 3D reality, three spatial dimension reality. Um, any higher dimensional um, polyhedra cannot visually, physically, realistically depict these eight octants that go around this cube are the maximum you can have in our 3D reality. Um, on this shape, um, octahedron, eight sides, that's an extra pair of primary numbers that produces an extra dimension beyond our own three dimensions that's depicted in the cube. So uh, the the central ghost number is amplified 4 times, 36, which is the addition of all these primary numbers. 36 is produced 4 times. That represents 4 dimensions, and that's the resulting ghost number on the outside. And the reason I didn't put it all around here, like I put the ghost numbers on all the octants of the ghost number cube, is because they can't sensibly fit around this object, this octahedron. Not in our reality. They're hidden away in what I would probably call a ghost space or something. Um, they can't fit around this object. They can be pictured to fit around here, I guess, on all the eight sides. But those eight dimensions don't correspond to our reality like the three dimensions of this cube. So they're hidden away. It's like a superposition. The central ghost number is the superposition. The primary numbers are like the wave function that produces the central ghost number and the dimensionality of the space that the superposition rests in. These are other dimensions than our own in the Hilbert space, I guess. In an infinite dimension, infinite polyhedra dimension. And those ghost numbers can't be depicted like the cubic ghost numbers can. It wouldn't make no sense, even if there are eight of them, just like there's eight in our cubic reality, three-dimensional reality. They don't correspond to any dimensions in our reality. It's an extra fourth spatial dimension. So I believe you can't put them anywhere sensibly around here and still imagine our three-dimensional reality. So I just put that off to the side. Here 44 being the quadruple amplification of the central ghost number, which is in superposition in these higher dimensions. And the prism itself, one of the Platonic solids, it doesn't have a corresponding commutative pair of faces, but you can flatten it down into a two-dimensional magic ghost number cube that has commutative pairs of numbers. So the prism, we can see it in our physical reality, a solid prism, but the prism itself in this magic ghost number scenario doesn't have a commutative pair, so it's not commutative like my ghost numbers are commutative. But you can flatten it down, and those same four numbers appear in the square. And this is a two-dimensional reality. And the central ghost number is the superposition point. And the primary numbers are like the wave function. And there's another way you can suppress the third dimension. That's by putting zeros on the pairs of extra dimensions, like this object, this dodecahedron, has 6 dimensions. 12 faces create 6 pairs, and so there's 6 dimensions. But you can get rid of the 9 individual primary numbers by setting them to 0 across their pair shared axis, and be left with a suppressed 3 dimension, which I believe collapses the wave function of the central ghost number, which acts as the superposition point, and the primary numbers of the wave function, and the dimensionality is then brought into a cubical reality by suppressing extra dimensions. And you can do that with any number of polyhedra set faces that are beyond, like this 20 face isosahedron. You get rid of the 14 extra faces, the 7 dimensions, extra dimensions, and you're left with 3 from the 10 dimensions that make up the axis of this. The primary numbers, I believe, are the wave function that doesn't have an existence of its own, but produces the superposition point and the dimensionality of the space that the superposition point lives in. And you can't see a point. Points are forever hidden, even in a strand of hair that's line-like. Even lines are hidden. You can't see a line because it has width. It's a two-dimensional shape. We can only see 2 and 3 dimensions. You can't see any higher and you can't see any lower. You can't see a real line or a point because they're forever hidden in the structure of the dimensionality. The dimensionality gives rise to the superposition point, and it's only collapsed, and we can only see the point by the observables it produces. When it's in a cubic form, you can only see a reflection of a superposition point once it's collapsed by viewing it in a cubic form. The outer ghost numbers are the observables that you get from the point. The central ghost number acts as a point, and these outer cubic ghost numbers in these octants, these 8 octants, brings the ghost numbers into our reality, our existence, and you can suppress the dimensions of the extra face pairs, the commutative pairs, the primary numbers, to give us our 3 dimensions. So you're collapsing the Hilbert space of superposition dimensions to create the observables of the superposition point, but you still couldn't see a point by itself. There's no such thing as a naked point, like there's no such thing as a naked singularity. This shows the 4 dimensions of a 8-sided octahedron. And these numbers here are the numbers of these bottom numbers are the numbers that come with the 20-sided isosahedron, or the 10-dimensional space of the Hilbert space of Edison. These numbers over here are the resultant numbers of these numbers that go around this dodecahedron, which produces 6 dimensions. And this is all just theoretical, but I believe that the primary numbers are the wave function itself. It produces a dimensionality of the space, which can be a Hilbert space of infinite dimensions. And it also produces the superposition point, which is the central ghost number. And that ghost number can't be seen, that point can never be seen, but you can see its observable attributes when the outer ghost numbers make their way back into our reality by collapsing the extra dimensions of higher dimensional objects other than the 3-dimensional magic ghost number cube. So the magic ghost number cube is special in that it exists in our reality and in our 3-dimensional space, not including time. And all these other shapes exist in higher dimensions or lower dimensions. A line, you can have a magic ghost number line, but you won't be able to see it. And the point, the central ghost number that acts as a point, would still would be hidden between the properties of these pairs. I think I said enough, but the magic ghost number cube is a collapsed wave function that gives us our observables from the superposition always hidden point. These could be a point itself. It could be the mark of a point, or it could be the time or energy of the point, whatever, position or momentum, whatever. But the point itself is it's always going to be hidden. You can't see a point by itself, but you can see the observables of the point. And I believe the observables are acting to the outer ghost numbers that make themselves apparent only in our 3-dimensional world in its cubic form. No higher dimensions, no lower dimensions below 2 dimensions of a magic ghost number square. And you can suppress the 3 dimensions, the 3rd dimension of a cube to get the 2 dimensions of the square. But that's all we can see is 2 and 3 dimensions in our reality. So I hope I explained myself clearly. It looked good on paper. I just not really sure if I took the time to think it through or whatever, but trying to rehearse my part. But any outer ghost number in all higher dimensional polyhedra cannot exist around that form in reality. They have to exist in a cubic form, or else they don't fit around here sensibly. There's only 8 octants to our cubic reality, and in a cubic form. So I put the ghost numbers on the side here just to represent that's what this in 4 dimensions look like. The superposition particle, and it's a higher dimensional, higher dimensionality number. It's 4 dimensions, 4 spatial dimensions. And I'm not including time here. It's just the dimensionalities of space that the particle and wave function are in. And I believe you can collapse other dimensions into our own reality by suppressing their higher dimensions or commutative pairs of numbers.